Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Hope everyone is doing well. This video is going to be about Tyrique Robinson. I did a previous video that consisted of him hosting an interview with Austin Rhodes in the Austin Rhodes show. I will pin that in the description below. A little bit about who Tyrique Robinson is first. So Tyrique Robinson was a 20-year-old male who had big hopes and dreams for the education system in Richmond County, Augusta, Georgia. He was the youngest to ever run and youngest to ever get elected for a seat on the Board of Education. The election was held on a Tuesday in November. 1 week later, exactly, is when he was found dead. The Friday in between, his mentor, Melissa Oden, had thrown out accusations of him stealing $250,000. He did the interview with Austin Rhodes to deny those allegations and to get his side of the story out. Robinson's family reached out to a local news station, WRDW, and they have a portion of their newscasts called the I-Team, which does does investigations. So the I-Team has been investigating the death of Tyrique Robinson. So the I-Team investigated some, and they were able to uncover quite a few things. Something that was not made public prior to Robinson's death was the fact that he was pursuing assault and battery charges against his mentor's ex-boyfriend from an incident involving the three of them at a casino last spring. And the truth is that he really had a lot going on the month before he won the District 6 and became the youngest member ever elected. He had just learned that he was going to be a father for the second time. He was receiving backlash from aligning himself with new candidates. Rumors had began circulating on social media over his sexuality. And the day after the election, his mentor, Melissa Oden, accused him of stealing $250,000. Robinson's mother says anyone who knew Tyrique knows there is more to the story. Unfortunately, there are several different twists and turns in this story. His death was ruled a suicide, and the Richmond County Sheriff's Office did not recover any fingerprints on the gun despite Robinson's brother moving it. And according to the investigator notes, neither did they recover prints on the mags, rounds, AirPods, 2 cell phones, or knife that were all laying on the bed next to his body. The gun itself has no serial number, so no record. Investigators state that they could not recover the number. There's no footage from the security cameras either. The investigator notes no footage from the security cameras either. The investigator notes he received an email from the Comcast legal department advising they did not have an account with the listed address or camera system for Robinson. The I-Team asked the Richmond County Sheriff's Office to learn more. They asked, is it odd or unusual to not be able to recover any prints, security videos, or the serial number on the gun found at a suicide? I-Team made a request under Georgia's open record law for the email from Comcast to the investigator. The Sheriff's Office replied stating the email was deleted. That seems kind of odd. Why would you delete an email from a business that you're doing an investigation with on a person? So anyways, the I-Team asked their IT department to recover it. The Sheriff's Office states it was unable to recover the email. Your questions have been forwarded to the sheriff. The Richmond County Dispatch did not receive any calls about any gunfire from the apartment complex that Monday or Tuesday. The autopsy report found everything normal down to the fingernails. No mention of gunpowder or blood on his hands. They did not perform toxicology. The official cause of death on the GBI's report, the GBI would be the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, on the report is suicide. Robinson's mother had told News 12 that she last saw her son that Monday. So Tyrique was found dead on Tuesday. His mom saw him the day before. He had left her house to go to Perry, Georgia. He was going to Perry, Georgia for board training. His parents did find a key to the hotel. Well, the News 12 I-team went to Perry and asked if Robinson ever checked into this room. The clerk told them she could only give the person who made the reservation that information, which would be the Richmond County Board of Education. Robinson's mom had said that she knew he was looking forward to training and all. She did not want him. She did not know what made him come back. So according to the officials, photos from the scene of his apartment show a bathtub full of water, Robinson naked in bed, ankles crossed, and a blanket pulled up and tucked around him. Richmond County investigators wrote in their notes that they were unable to access security footage from his apartment, so they don't know when Robinson returned home from Perry. However, deputies at the scene did see where the alarm on his door activated. Deputy Parsons states that door was open at 9:30 p.m. last night. He was in Atlanta last night. Mama says she talks to her son on the phone, him and the other one down there. She checks his phone, and his phone showed him in Perry, Georgia. Deputy Parsons states, suspicious? ? Robinson's family found the most suspicious piece of this puzzle 3 weeks later when investigators returned his 2 cell phones. Robinson's stepfather says all the pictures, all the videos, and most of the pictures of him and Melissa Oden or the text messages deleted column from her was deleted. Melissa Oden, is a businesswoman and owner of several local nursing homes as well as other businesses. She told the I-team she was Robinson's mentor and business partner in a trucking and transportation business. Oden also helped him with his campaign, even going as far as to ask her friend, former Commissioner Ben Hasen, not to run against Robinson. She also contacted WRDW, the news station, the Friday before his death. And Oden states when she reached out to the news station, I have a very important story to tell you about a newly elected official who has been stealing. Robinson's stepfather was able to get into the iCloud and pay, and pay some money for the storage. They were able to reboot it and get everything backed up that had been deleted from his phone. The files that Robinson's stepfather recovered paint a different picture of Oden and Robinson's relationship. They went to a strip club together. They went on trips together, including Harrah's Casino in Cherokee, North Carolina in May of last year. Tyrique's mother says Tyrique went out of town with her, and he called me and his mama, and said, Mama, I got something to tell you, don't tell Pop. I got into a fight. I was protecting her. Her ex-boyfriend came here. According to the incident report from the Cherokee Indian Police Department, Oden's ex-boyfriend assaulted her and Robinson. In her statement, she says the ex-boyfriend flew all the way there from Texas because he heard she was going to be here and was bringing the young man. He thought there was something sexual happening between the two of us and came to confront Robinson. Tyrique's mother says that Melissa Oden wanted him to not go forward with pressing charges. A text from Oden to Robinson after the incident at the casino was among the recovered files on his phone. Oden says, Ty, Lansing wants to know how much for you to write a letter and not to press charges. 8,500? ? Actually make it 10,000. He said, Mom, I got to go forward with it, said Robinson's mother. Oden emailed the district attorney in North Carolina asking for their court date to be moved due to the original date falling on Election Day. Robinson died before the rescheduled court date, and he could go forward with the charges before Odin changed her story, according to Robinson's mother. Robinson's mother says about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, the DA calls and says, Mrs., we want to let you know they won't be able to move forward to the case. And I'm like, what do you mean? What happened? She said, Odin recanted her story. The whole story, she said, she blamed Tyrique. She said Tyrique was the aggressor. The I-team reached out to Odin. She asked us what she said in her statement to police and for us to send her the police report from Cherokee. We did. She referred us to her attorney. Frails represents Odin. He also represents the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. Randy Frails says she has decided it's really not appropriate to comment on this issue in Cherokee or anything that may have hurt this young man, Tyrique, who is deceased, who committed suicide. The I-team says, I want to make sure there isn't a conflict of interest with you representing Melissa and the Sheriff's Office. Randy Frails states, I don't see where a conflict arises where I represent Miss Odin and the Sheriff's Office and a client also. Frails also states, she didn't cause his death, she wasn't involved in his death, and it's quite evident this young man, anyone committing suicide, a parent, anyone who has committed suicide, must be dealing with some issues that the world is unaware of, or else they wouldn't commit suicide. Trigger warning too, guys, I'm sorry. I should have said that prior. Robinson's mother says it's unreal, like a nightmare you keep waking up from. A nightmare because the family believes the whole story about their son. Deputy Parsons states, so am I doing a report as an unattended death or suicide? Question marks. It might lie in the missing puzzle pieces. Investigators say all evidence points toward it. We are still going through files the family says they recovered from Robinson's phone, which they hope will help connect the dots to something they believe expose something much bigger than their son. So I'm looking at another report from WRDW, and it states, let's see. So not only was Tyrique being accused of stealing and other things, he was also under political pressure as well. Being that he was the youngest member ever elected and that he was only 20 years old, he was inexperienced and perhaps maybe a little naive when it came to politics in Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia. In a video they found on Facebook, he says, us as a county with 8 high schools should have an in-person graduation on a football field. He was speaking out then as a senior in high school during the pandemic. Board of Education should be discussing this on the board meeting. You guys have meetings and nothing is done. His name meant a lot to him because he was a voice for a lot of people. Young, old, it didn't matter. He wasn't afraid to speak up. 2 years later, after just winning a seat on the Richmond County Board of Education. In my first video where I posted about the interview between Tyrique and Austin Rhodes show, when Tyrique, in that interview, he stated, I knew getting into this race is that I would have to have tough skin, so I won't let anyone back me down or let these allegations back me down. It's just time to stand firm and show I am innocent in this. This is Tyrique on the Austin Rhodes show the Friday before he died, or the day before he died. I apologize. This may have been Monday he did this interview. He was interviewing to defend himself against the allegations of theft made by his business partner. As the I-team first reported, Tyrique met Melissa Odin in January of 2022. Tyrique stated on the Austin Rhodes show, one of the things she told me is she is going to make me great. So I took the vision. It was one of the best things I heard being young, but did not realize it came with preposterous control. Melissa Oden had the power to make Tyrique great as well. She was a connected and successful businesswoman in Augusta, Richmond County. Tyrique also states, there was a meeting between her, me, and another individual who I won't call out, who wants the seat. She basically told him not to run because she basically wanted to give me a chance. The I-team was also obtained a text Tyrique sent to Melissa on August 26th. The meeting was with former Commissioner Ben Hassan. Hassan confirmed to the I-team he decided not to run after his friend Melissa Oden asked him to give Tyrique a chance at the seat. Melissa texted, "Thank you so much, Ben." Not every text conversation between the two was positive. Tyrique told Melissa about meeting with Richmond County School Superintendent Dr. Bradshaw. She replied she wanted to talk one-on-one with Tyrique once she returned from an out-of-town trip. He asked, "Am I in trouble?" She replies, "Yes." Tyrique met other Augusta leaders too, including Garnett Johnson, even introducing the future mayor of Augusta to Melissa. Johnson later invited Tyrique to an event where Melissa and his godmother, her friend Melanie, would be in attendance. Tyrique also spent time with members of the Board of Education, including Super District 9 board member Dennis Kane. Tyrique called me and asked me to mentor him. That's what I was doing. Venus knew Tyrique before he decided to run for the school board, but the two had a falling out a few weeks before the election. After the election, 2 days before he died, Tyrique sent Venus this text exchange. Tyrique texted, "I got a call informing me you are putting a rumor out there that me and Melissa sleeping together. The rumor is not true and I need you to clear it up." Venus texted back, "Whatever you need to clean up your lies, I told you I am through with you and all your shenanigans with you and Ben. You played a big boy game and you lost. You might want to worry about the stuff folks are putting out about you. Stealing money from an old lady and folks going to the news on you. You are exhausting. I don't know a Melissa. Now, anyone connected to you is off limits for me." Liz Owens sat down with Venus to ask about the text exchange. Liz says, "You said you better be worried about going to the news on you." Venus, Yes, it was that lady. Remember, I told you. Girl, the beautician called me. The beautician, Tyrique's godmother, introduced him to Melissa. She told Venus the same story Melissa told the I-team a few days earlier, and that the Tyrique defended himself against on the Austin Rhodes show the day before he died. Rhodes to Tyrique in the interview, "She is saying you used company credit cards to pay for your billboard." Tyrique says, "She gave me money to fund my campaign. I never once misused her credit card." Tyrique publicly thanked his godmother for the billboard, Melissa's friend, 2 months before the allegations. Liz states to Venus, Did you go to any news outlets on him about him stealing money and not living in the district?" Venus says, "No, I didn't know anything about it because I stopped talking to him by then. I'm going to be honest with you. The biggest thing that pissed me off is Tyrique sent me a text and asked me to go to Champion's Retreat and have dinner with him." Tyrique invited Venus to dinner in mid-October, a month before the election and a month after Pete Fletcher, the longtime attorney for the Richmond County Board of Education that passed away. Venus explains, "He calls me and I say, 'What is this about?' He says, 'My aunt wants me to get you and Randy Frails together.' I said, 'No, no, no. I am not doing that, Tyrique, and you know that.' I said, 'I am not getting caught out in public having lunch or dinner with you and Randy Frails.' So when we got to look for an attorney and people saying I did something illegal, that's when I found out Randy Frails was Tyrique's attorney. That's the type of shenanigans I was talking about. Randy Frails is also Melissa Oden's attorney and is currently representing her in a case she filed against Tyrique's estate after he died. Frails also represents the agency that investigated Tyrique's death and ruled it a suicide and donated heavily to Richard Roundtree's campaign before becoming counsel for the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. So Richard Roundtree is the sheriff for Richmond County. So not only did Randy Frails donate heavily to Roundtree's campaign, but he now but he now also represents the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. Venus states again, he was trying to drag me into what he was doing, but I didn't know what he was doing on the other side. I still don't know, Liz. So when Tyrique turned on me, saying I am going to support these people, that was another shenanigan I was talking about, because a week ago, you were all on Team Venus. Whatever shenanigans were going on behind the scenes scared Tyrique to the point he told his family he feared for his son and his mother's life. A month later, it was his life that was lost.